got the new security system online, boss.
Hello, chum. Oh, that's what that is.
Nothing? Huh? Nothing? We sold nothing? I'll tell your employees that it was all for bupkis, huh? Long John Bucket off.
You tried to feel my breath? Hey, boo.
Hello there. Hello. Sure it is nothing.
can send Fierro. Fucking bridge.
GPS locked. I have your position. I will also access compound CCTV to see you when you are there. Knock knock, Mr. Rubio. Guess who is back again? The drainage pipe is dead ahead. All right. See you in maintenance room. Well, judging from the lack of terrified screams, I will assume you made it through the uncharted tunnel and into the den of strung-out militiamen. Good. Things are going according to plan, huh? Now, let's see what he has for us in the vault this time. Watch out for the Mr. Rubio's personal bodyguards. They patrol this area. They will know every soldier on the island. Them you cannot fool, no matter what you are wearing. There will be many locked doors in Mr. Rubio's house. Worth looking for keys, I think. It would be rude not to check the safe, I think. I'm sorry, the CCTV image is a little blurry. Was that a gun made of gold? is something about coming all this way to steal a bottle of booze, which speaks to me on a very deep level. It looks like they have sealed off the drainage pipe you used to get in here. You will have to find another way out. Heads up, fresh guards inbound. Just because you're fleeing the crime scene of the century does not mean there is no time for opportunistic theft, yes? You like it, you take it. Well done. The compound is done. The only thing left to do is escape. Carry on like this and they will never know you were there. Your GPS should have the location of your extraction point at the main docks. This time is the straw that breaks the camel's hump, I think. They have their attack boats mobilized along the coast. Hey, if you're looking for the sub, I had to put it somewhere else while you were inside. Uh-oh. By the sounds of it, Mr. Rubio is getting back in his helicopter. Watch out. Good news. Mr. Rubio's heading back. The whole crew across the line. Very good.
You sure you never heard shit like this from the block before? Top down, top down.
and only. What can I get you? Hey, do you think of money? Nah, what the hell am I thinking?
Hey, listen it up next week. I meant that. Wowza! Whoa!
You think you're the
What
big
heavens?
man, do you? Lord above. I feel so limber after a good.
He was totally plowing through gravel.
I've been looking for you. We're gonna have a good time in here.
Eyes on main entrance.
Nice ride. You are looking totes delicious. Nice to see you, darling. Look, I've got like the most amazeballing critters opportunity ever.
There's no other place like it. Fly Happy Place. Premieres Sunday, April 27th on CNN.
Liberty. Liberty.
all this drama?
Ah! Someone do something! Watch out, babes. You're gonna cause a traffic accident looking like that.
That's right!
Or Coach Live. Next on Football.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Skechers Men's Beach Casual Footwear. You love this style of shoe. Now they come in hands-free Skechers slip-ins. Just slip in and go with no bending down and no touching them. Try hands-free Skechers slip-ins.
All right, we are back, and it's time for the Newsnight Nightcap. Chili's is opening a restaurant in Scranton, and it's claiming the TV show The Office as its theme since one of its famous episodes took place there.
Somebody's last call, knew that they can't find somebody's best day, somebody's worst, somebody's dreams ever leaving on the porch line. Tan line.
Jay, I'll let you know. Hey, looking forward to seeing you on set, buddy.
15 in Brooklyn to a Brazilian mother and an African-American father, Ajita was assigned male at birth. She started out as a drag performer and sex worker in New York's red light district before undergoing gender-affirming surgery sometime in the 1970s. Her striking presence caught the eye of queer photographer Bill King, who launched her modeling career, which allowed her to travel the world. Ajita settled in Milan in Italy and pursued acting. In 1976, she landed her first film role in The New Princess, also known as Black Magic, which was inspired by the life of Princess Elizabeth of Toro. Reflecting on their time together, her co-star Tina Omo later spoke about Ajita.
She knows she was so feminine. Both of them.
Following The New Princess, Ajita continued to act, particularly in erotic and later pornographic films. She spent the final years of her life struggling to land film roles and resorted back to sex work. And tragically, her life was cut short in 1987 when she died after a car accident at just 37 years old. Ajita's trans identity was kept hidden from the public eye, but now she's being celebrated as a pioneering trans star who paved the way for future generations.
You learn something new every day. I knew that already, though.
Hey, so, I know you've been there already, but Pooh just called, said I can come through and get a tour of Dre's studio as a thank you for...
Roger. How's it going, mate?
Going, man.
Bloody hell!
I'm carrying a bunch of sweet nothings in my pocket for a little pick-me-up. You should try it.
Man, this is gonna give me nightmares. Why'd we even show up?
Hot, don't I know it?
They didn't even do anything.
Oh man, I could murder a pint. I'm off to a bar straight away after work.
I knew them ninjas was there all day. I knew exactly where them ninjas at.
GPS tracker confirmed. I have your position. I will also access compound CCTV once you are inside. You know, I am almost jealous of you out there in the field once again. But then I think of the drainage pipe you're about to swim through, and I am not so jealous. The entrance is right up ahead. Okay, next stop, maintenance. You know, in a way, I admire Mr. Rubio. We steal from him, and he restocks the cupboards with goodies. Huh? We Russians love an optimist. Are you in? You did not get sucked into a turbine. Ah, I knew you'd be fine. How likely is it I have two operations in the same way, huh? Now, we look for the vault. Maybe start in the central building. You're in the area where Mr. Rubio's personal bodyguards operated. These men will know every soldier under their command. No disguise will fool them. Was that a shotgun I saw on camera? Well, if anyone is going to have a shotgun worth stealing, it is this man.
¡Diga las diosas de este mundo, malparido!
on his ability to use the Alien Enemies Act to deport alleged Venezuelan gang members. Many of them were deported to El Salvador, arriving in the cover of night to be held at one of the world's most notorious jails. But the administration is vowing to appeal to the Supreme Court, as expected, and late tonight is announcing that El Salvador has agreed to incarcerate more alleged gang members deported from this country. Trump's deportations have struck a nerve for many, and this next story in particular has gotten a lot of attention. It's about Gladys and Nelson Gonzalez. The California couple called the United States home for 35 years, fleeing Colombia in 1989 after high crime rates made them fear for their very lives. And since then, they've raised 3 daughters, all U.S. citizens, and tried repeatedly to retain legal status here in the country. But in 2000, an immigration court found no legal reason for them to stay. They were issued a voluntary departure order. They remained in the country via an order of supervision. Essentially, they could stay, they had to check in once a year and prepare to leave the country, and they did. Until last month, when they appeared for that routine immigration check-in. They were handcuffed, placed into federal custody, moved around to different states for weeks, and deported back to Colombia.
In Colombia.
Gladys and Nelson's daughter, Sophie Gonzalez,
In Colombia.
John Marshall. Stephanie, thank you for being here, both of you. Can you walk us through what happened the day your parents were arrested? I mean, how did you first learn something even happened?
Yeah, it was a normal day like any other day, meaning that they had their check-in appointment, and it was February 21st. I said bye to them like I always do, and I spoke with my mom on the phone around 10:30 a.m., and she let me know that her appointment went great with their officer, that they gave her a year extension, and so we thought that everything was going to be great. And then, unfortunately, a couple hours later, we heard different news from my dad that his officer decided to detain him, revoke my mom's extension, and arrest both of them. And we were just in complete shock and heartbreak.
Did you hear any reason as to why that happened for your father at all?
No, nothing at all. They didn't give us any reason. My parents weren't given any reason. The officer simply looked at his file and said that he didn't really have a case and that he was going to be detained, and then called my mom back in and arrested her as well with no explanation.
Did you have a chance to say goodbye? And how long did it take to actually contact them again?
No, we didn't really get to say goodbye. The phone call from my dad was really short. He just told us that we had to go pick up his car that was left in the parking lot. He just told us that he loved us, that he didn't know where he was going, and that he would try and reach out to us as soon as he could. We didn't hear from him all afternoon and all night until the following morning when he was already in a detention center.
He must have been, as you were, scared.
Yeah, we had no idea if they were even safe. The thought of not hearing their voices and not even knowing where they were was awful. We didn't sleep all night, and it wasn't until the next morning that I actually was calling hysterically to different field offices and immigration trying to find out where he was, and then thankfully he called us that morning to let us know where he was.
John, this is your family too, and obviously you are part of this important support system. Your in-laws, they were here under an order of supervision. They were told to prepare to leave, but did they think something like this could really happen? Because they've been going for all this time for these what are now routine check-ins.
Right. I don't think so. Unfortunately, we're under the impression that as long as you stay the course, didn't get in trouble, didn't break any laws, that these extensions will be granted. And yeah, it's been hard. I mean, they have my kids, face on their cell phone screensaver. So when my wife asked me, my parents are going to be safe, it's really empty feeling, and it's really, really difficult.
Unbelievable. I mean, the DH Secretary, Kristi Noem, Stephanie, had said if undocumented persons were to self-deport, that they may have an opportunity to return legally. Was that a consideration for your parents to follow that order to voluntarily deport and try from Colombia?
No, unfortunately, it wasn't. We tried to fight for that. We offered to pay for their plane tickets, so that the government didn't have to spend so much money on them. We said we will pay for their plane tickets for them to leave, and so we can at least say goodbye. And they told us that would not be possible and did not give us that option at all. And we thought that they could at least leave with some dignity instead of being handcuffed and arrested like criminals the way they were. And they did not give us that option.
Stephanie, John, thank you for sharing what has happened. It's so important for people to really understand. And you've given us that information tonight. I wish your family the best.
Thank you.
Up next, a dramatic upset in March. And no, I'm not talking about March Madness, people. This one in a deep red pro-Trump district in Pennsylvania. A Democrat pulling off a win in a state race that has lifted the Democratic Party's hopes. So how do you do it? The state senator-elect who pulled off the win joins me next.
Noom has GLP-1 meds now?
Yes, Noom combines medication with healthy habits so you can lose the weight and keep it off.
Yeah, GLP-1s starting at $149. That's Noom smart.
Noom, the smart way to lose weight.
America, you love alien tape. And now you can get 2 rolls for free. That's right, free. Introducing alien tape, the double-sided ultra-strong tape that bonds instantly and holds on tight. Just cut alien tape to size, place it where you want it, peel off the back, and it bonds instantly to almost any surface. And when you're done, just give it a twist, and it comes right off. Check this out. Alien tape works on glass, metal, wood, tile, carpet, and so much more. It sticks instantly to almost anything. Alien tape's nano grip technology locks into place and holds tight. Alien tape is great for a quick fix all around the house. Hang outdoor lights with no tools. It's perfect for installing security cameras. Alien tape instantly locks down rugs and holds them in place so they don't blow away. Just cut alien tape to size, peel off the back, place it where you want it. It bonds instantly and locks tight onto almost any surface. And when you're done, just give it a twist and it comes right off. No nails or screws. You'll use it indoors, outdoors, and it even works on stone, brick, and more. And remember, alien tape is the double-sided, ultra-strong tape that instantly locks into place and holds on tight. There are hundreds, maybe even thousands of uses for alien tape. Now here's your chance to try alien tape's TV offer.
Call or go online to get your roll of the incredible alien tape for the low price of just $19.99 plus shipping and processing. Order today, and you can get 2 additional rolls of alien tape, absolutely free. That's right, you can get 3 rolls of alien tape for one low price. Here's how to order. To order, call 1-800-594-9461. That's 1-800-594-9461, or go to tryalientape.com. So call 1-800-594-9461. That's 1-800-594-9461, or order online at tryalientape.com.
I got this $1,000 camera for only $41 on DealDash.
DealDash.com. Online auctions since 2009. This PlayStation 5 sold for only 50 cents. This iPad Pro sold for less than $34. And this Nintendo Switch sold for less than $20.
I got this KitchenAid stand mixer for only $56. I got this barbecue smoker for $26.
And shipping is always free.
Go to DealDash.com right now and see how much you can save.
Precise designs, subtle curves, curated upgrades, elevated design for thoughtful living. Puma.
Need a shipping solution that'll grow with you? With ShipStation, you can manage and fulfill all your orders in one place. Plus, get more carrier options at the lowest rates. Keep your business growing. Head to ShipStation.com to start your free trial.
Did you use fentanyl after you found out you're pregnant?
Kate Baldwin on the front lines of America's fentanyl crisis.
We keep saving the same people over and over, but until you get them into treatment, you're not changing anything.
The whole story with Anderson Cooper, Sunday on CNN.
I'm Eleni Chokos in Dubai, and this is CNN.
Journey into one of Africa's most biodiverse ecosystems. Home to almost half of the world's remaining mountain gorillas.
The gorillas have really transformed Uganda.
put Uganda Conservation and Tourism back on the map. Meet the conservationist whose passion helped save these apes from extinction. To create balance between wildlife and community. Call to Earth, Kings of the Forest, Sunday on CNN. Embark on an unforgettable journey to a natural wonder in the Western Pacific Ocean, the Philippines.
Yes, you are clear of the compound. This is the final straight. Find your way through the last guards, and we get out of here. The airstrip exit point should be on your radar. Well, he sounds irritated again. The water is full of attack boats. You will need to be careful. Hey, if you're looking for the sub, I had to put it somewhere else while you were inside. Looks like Mr. Rubio is falling back. Uh-oh. By the sounds of it, Mr. Rubio is getting back in his helicopter. Watch out. A whole crew across the line. Very good.
Reaching out to each other and listening to everybody.
What did you sense were the top issues then?
Our top issues were, supporting our first responders, supporting education and libraries, and trying to work on the expense of housing. When we're saying workforce housing, we're talking about affordable housing for people that are making from $25,000 a year up to $100,000 a year, and working on those issues.
How much did you get a sense that the anger against, say, President Trump or Elon Musk, or the way that these first less than 100 days have operated, are factoring into your own win?
The chaos at Washington was a definite component to our win.
Our CNN contributor, David Urban, he cautioned Democrats more broadly about feeling too good about this. He said this was about a bad candidate who ran an even worse campaign. So obviously he's not giving full credit to your victory, but do you agree with this sentiment at all?
There was some of that. We did have a lot of Republicans who, because of their distaste for the Republican candidate,
what kind of gaming experience you're looking for. You'll find it and be continuously entertained at the Diamond Casino and Resort.
Got some cool stuff here for you. Hey, let me know if you have any questions. Yup, gotta load up before you head out. Keep your eyes open.
Are revealed prematurely, and under no circumstances should such discussions take. Trade war announcing a 25% tariff on imported cars, taking effect 1 week from now. A 25% tariff on auto parts will come into effect within a month. The impact on American consumers is expected to soon follow, with industry experts predicting the cost of a new car will increase by thousands of dollars. Despite that, the president says no country will be exempt.
This is something that people have wanted to do, presidents have wanted to do for a long time. A lot of them didn't understand it. It wasn't a priority for them, but foreign countries understood it very well. And it really ripped us off at levels that nobody's seen before, but that's not going to happen.
Shares of the big three U.S. automakers, Stellantis, Ford, and General Motors fell in after-hours trade amid fears of high costs and lower sales. And all three car makers have extensive global supply chains. The European Commission president condemned the new tariffs, writing this: tariffs are taxes, bad for business, worse for consumers in the US and the EU. But there was no announcement of any retaliatory measures, unlike Canada, which was ready to push back.
And this is a direct attack, to be clear, a direct attack on the very workers that I stood in front of. We will defend our workers. We will defend our companies. We will defend our country. And we will defend it together.
CNN's Christy Lichard joins us now live from Hong Kong. So, Christy, tell us about how these tariffs will actually affect suppliers there in Asia.
The potential impact here, John, will be huge, and we're already hearing from the Japanese Prime Minister saying, quote, all options are on the table in response to what the U.S. president did. Donald Trump announcing 25% tariffs on all auto imports, targeting the world's largest auto suppliers, including key allies here in the Asia-Pacific region. Now, the new tariffs, they're going to kick into effect starting next week. The collection will begin starting on April the 3rd. The tariffs will apply to cars. They will apply to trucks. But as for auto parts, and that includes electrical components, engines, transmissions, and so on. That will be subject to a 1-month free period. We've been monitoring investment activity and sentiment here in the region since the news broke. Shares in Japan and South Korea have been skidding. There is a sense of dismay as well as surprise because just a couple of days ago, Hyundai, this is South Korea's automaking giant, announced plans to invest $20 billion in the U.S. market. And it's 3 weeks ago, earlier this month, Honda, the Japanese auto giant, announced plans that it would move production of the Honda Civic from Mexico to the U.S. state of Indiana, all in a bid to reportedly avert potential tariffs. Now, we did hear again from the Japanese Prime Minister. He spoke to Parliament earlier today. Let's bring up and just analyze his comments. Once again, what he said. Now, this is according to Shigeru Ishiba, Prime Minister of Japan, saying this, quote, Japan is a country that is making the largest amount of investment in the United States. So we wonder if it makes sense for Washington to apply uniform tariffs to all countries. That's a point we've been making, and we will continue to do so, unquote. Now, analysts say that these tariffs could deal a heavy blow to the Japanese economy. They also point out that the South Korean economy will be hit significantly hard. I want to show you some interesting comments that we heard from a senior fellow at the Council of Foreign Relations. In regards to the auto sector, he says this, quote, imports from Korea have been growing strongly, now top $35 billion or 2% of GDP. So Korea is more exposed relative to the size of the economy than either Germany or Japan. But last year, the United States imported a total of $474 billion of auto products. And if you look at the list, and I believe we have the list available for you, the list of the top auto suppliers in the world that export into the United States, if you look at the names of these countries, you have Japan, you have South Korea, you have Mexico, Canada, you have Germany. Every nation, John, on that list is a close U.S. ally. Back to you.
It's friends like these, particularly South, why prepare change.
Yep.
Thank you. Well, day 2 of the Signalgate scandal brought more denials, deflections, and nasty personal attacks from the White House, with the president and other senior officials continuing to deny war plans were ever discussed on an open-source messaging. But the reporter who broke the story proved those denials to be false. The Atlantic magazine published text messages from the group chat laying out plans to attack Houthi rebels in Yemen, including what type of aircraft, drones, and missiles would be involved, what time they would strike. The Pentagon acknowledges Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth shared the details while the operation was underway. Hegseth, on a tour of Hawaii, Guam, and the Philippines, continues to push back, and now splitting hairs over semantics.
Nobody's texting war plans. Well, I noticed this morning, out came something that doesn't look like war plans. And as a matter of fact, they even changed the title to attack plans, because they know it's not war plans. There's no units, no locations, no routes, no flight paths, no sources, no methods, no classified information.
Multiple current and former defense officials tell CNN any discussion about timing, targets, or weapon systems which would be used in an attack is always classified because of potential risks to U.S. service members. Those plans are revealed prematurely, and under no circumstances should such discussions take place on a commercial path. President Trump now says he's not sure if classified information was shared on the Signal chat. The Atlantic's editor-in-chief says he published the additional text messages so the public can judge.
You know, at a certain point, the administration is saying that there's nothing classified or secret or sensitive in these. So at a certain point, I just felt, you know, let our readers decide for themselves. Read these texts that I got sitting in my car on my phone in a Safeway parking lot 2 hours before the attack launched. And you tell me if this seems like good operational security.
To Los Angeles now, and Ron Brownstein, CNN senior legal analyst. Good to see you, Ron. Okay, it seems the core group of White House principals on that group chat, as well as the president, have decided that offense is the best defense. The defense secretary tweeting on Wednesday, so let me get this straight. The Atlantic released these so-called war plans, and those plans include no names, no targets, no locations, no units, no routes, no sources, no methods, and no classified information. Those are some really rhymes with witchy war plans. If we take another look at the new messages released by the Atlantic Wednesday, it looks like a war plan, looks like they talk about the routes that are being used, the locations and timing. And, you know, deny and downplay has worked brilliantly for Donald Trump in the past. How effective, though, will it be when there's glaring evidence now to the contrary in this scandal?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, it really is
defies, credibility to argue that this is something, whether you call it a war plan or an attack plan, that should have been being discussed on a commercial app, much less to go on for days with a journalist in the chat and no one noticing. I mean, just the smell test, imagine if this was done by a Democratic administration, what we'd be hearing is it now from Republicans in Congress and from Fox News, or imagine that if it was a line officer in one of the military branches. What would happen to their career if they had a breach of operational security of this magnitude? I mean, it just doesn't really get to first base to argue that this was not a big deal, A, that it was being discussed, through this mechanism, and B, that nobody noticed for days that there was somebody listening who shouldn't have been, and the fact that Steve Woodcock was on the chat and was apparently in Moscow at the time may have meant there are some other people who shouldn't have been listening, who were aware of this at the time as well.
You touched on this, the Republican and Democrat point of view. For the most part, they have opposing views about the seriousness of the security breach. Democrat Senator Tammy Duckworth tweeting this. Pete Hexes is a ducking liar, rhymes with ducking. This is so clearly classified info he recklessly leaked that could have gotten our pilots killed. He needs to resign in disgrace immediately. Well, the Speaker of the House, Republican Mike Johnson, was willing to forgive because, everyone makes mistakes. Period.
It's been overblown, I think, by the media. I think this is a mistake. It was acknowledged as such. I'm certain it will not happen again. Moving forward.
There's unlikely any serious consequences while congressional Republicans fall in line with the White House, regardless of the harm to national security?
I'm certain this will not happen again, especially given that it's never happened, I think, to this extent in American history before. I learned something important during the George W. Bush presidency. The Republicans still control the Congress. They refused to ask any hard questions about the way the war was going in Iraq. And that allowed Bush to continue down a path that was leading toward chaos and, something close to disaster. Somewhat similarly, when Democrats controlled the Congress, they didn't ask a lot of questions of Biden about as his agenda seemed to be kindling inflation. The only one who really did was the former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers. And I think you can take a lesson from both of those, that when you don't ask the hard questions, things can get worse. I mean, the amount of recklessness and irresponsibility and just incompetence that was displayed in this episode, worse things can happen than to have this chat published publicly. I mean, there can be deeper consequences for this level of incompetence. And if there is no accountability, if there is no questioning, if people who messed up this badly kind of blithely go on, you're increasing your risk as President Trump and as the U.S. that something worse is going to happen the next time.
Meantime, over at Fox News,
let's also remember the Democrat wall of support for Hillary Clinton's use of a private, unsecure server for official government emails and attachments. Yeah, I remember all of that. When you look at these texts in their entirety, of course more were released today, they show a serious and thoughtful group of advisors trying to carry out the clear wishes of the duly elected and totally competent commander-in-chief.
Hillary's emails, it never gets old. This is what Fox does really well, right? It amplifies the spin and the outright lies coming from the White House, which means most Republican voters, and especially the MAGA base, will only hear that fairy tale that this is no big deal, which negates any possible political pressure on the administration to do something.
From their base. But reality bites, as the movie said a long time ago. And as I said, if you are in a circumstance where there is no one on your side willing to raise any kind of serious question, maybe the Senate Armed Services Committee will be a little different. When something this egregious happens, you are basically inviting more missteps down the road. And ultimately, the public will judge you on it. The idea that the defense secretary could screw up this badly, to be discussing this level of operational detail in the commercial, and then just kind of, go on the offense and go on Fox and say we did nothing wrong and it's the liberal media, well, fine. But it tells you something about the judgment and the degree of care and precision with which that official operates. And as I said, this was bad. Worse things can happen. And if there is no accountability, you're increasing the odds of worse things will happen.
Yeah, they could deal with it now, or they could deal with a whole lot worse later on. Maybe later on, as everyone can see. Ron Brown, in Los Angeles. Always good to have you with us, sir. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
And there's new reporting from Germany's Der Spiegel magazine about private data of top U.S. security officials, which is freely available online. Mobile phone numbers, email addresses, some cases passwords belonging to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. All three were part of the Signal group chat discussing plans to attack Houthi rebels in Yemen. Most of the information found by Der Spiegel is still in use, and some connected to social media accounts, including Instagram as well as LinkedIn. Well, as European leaders prepare for discussions over Ukrainian security, Russia once again sends in a massive attack drone targeting Ukraine. Also ahead, facing the threat of war, the EU urges citizens to stockpile enough emergency supplies to last for 3 days. Also ahead, facing the threat of war, the EU urges citizens to stockpile enough emergency supplies. Then went into a working dinner together. Zelensky is in Paris right now for a meeting of the so-called Coalition of the Willing, a group of Western nations committed to help defend Ukraine against Russian aggression. The French president lashed out at the Kremlin, saying it should not dictate conditions for peace. That's after Moscow demanded some sanctions be eased before agreeing to a halt in Black Sea fighting. At a news conference with Zelensky, Emmanuel Macron added there is only one aggressor, and that is Russia.
While you, Mr. President, were able to take a risk for peace by proposing and accepting this 30-day ceasefire in the air, at sea, and on civilian infrastructure, today Russia has not brought forward any solid response. And through its acts, it has shown its desire for war to continue the aggression.
More details now from CNN's Sebastian Shukla.
The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky arrived in Paris on Wednesday evening ahead of a summit held by the French President Emmanuel Macron as part of the conversations of the Coalition of the Willing. As he arrived at the Elysee, the French capital, they made some short statements to the press.
Moscow does not understand any language other than the language of force. This is a fact. That is why Europe, America, and everyone in the world needs to have enough strength to defend themselves in the interest of peace.
The two leaders then went into a working dinner together where they discussed Thursday's summit and the gathering of more than 30 world leaders. But ahead of the summit, the Elysee sources have been outlining that there would be 4 major topics covered at the summit and on the agenda. The first being the immediate delivery of aid to Ukraine. The second being ceasefire negotiations, discussions, and the focus around the implementation and the monitoring of any ceasefire. The continued strengthening of Ukraine's military, and most importantly, the headline-grabbing issue will be the reassurance force, as they called it, which will gather one of the most, if not the most, attention out of the summit. Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, has been a strong proponent of boots on the ground in Ukraine, and discussions will centre around what that will look like in Ukraine. But recently, the words have changed around that. The words now is reassurance force rather than peacekeeping. So we will start to get a better idea out of this communique and the discussions at the summit around what exactly a peacekeeping or reassurance force will look like. But it will still mean boots on the ground. And obviously, this summit is coming in the days after the US, Ukraine and Russia agreed this Black Sea ceasefire deal, which will see the halting of all military activity in the Black Sea. But depending on which side you are on, Ukraine is prepared to agree to that in totality now. But President Vladimir Putin of Russia has said that for Russia to be able to agree, there are various lists of reasons that need to be agreed before, including the reintroduction of the SWIFT banking system to Russian banks, and even the lifting of sanctions on a particular Russian agricultural bank too. So we will start to see likely what the Europeans view as the outcome of that particular ceasefire agreement, and what the future negotiations from Europe and what its posture will be towards Ukraine, particularly as the United States makes clear again, once again, that Europe needs to be able to defend itself and is taking a step back in its European security commitments. Sebastian Strickler, CNN, Berlin.
And call it a sign of the times in Europe. New guidance from the EU urging member states to shift their mindset and foster a culture of preparedness and resilience. Among the recommendations for civilians is stockpile enough food and other essential supplies to last at least 72 hours. Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said in a statement, new realities require a new level of preparedness in Europe. Our citizens, our member states, and our businesses need the right tools to act both to prevent crises and to act swiftly when a disaster hits. After a year and a half of punishing Israeli military strikes, most of Gaza's schools and universities are now rubble. But after the break, we'll meet some students who still want to learn, even in the middle of a war.
Imagine living in a house like this. It may look pretty cool, a bit out of place, but that's because it is. It's not a habitat for land, it's a habitat for the bottom of the sea, and they're testing it out here at this disused quarry near Chepstow in glorious Wales. This is the ambitious project at Deep, an ocean technology and exploration company. The firm is building underwater habitats designed to allow scientists, and perhaps one day tourists, to live and work at depths of up to 200 meters.
Fundamentally, we are increasing access to the oceans. Our goal is to help understand that and all of the other myriad ways that the ocean benefits us all, whether we recognize it or not, and to do it in a way that is unobtrusive and aligned with the ocean.
Stay tuned to get this 5-piece bakeware set, a $60 value, absolutely free. Tired of that pan that always sticks? It's so scratched and worn, you can't cook in it.
Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with my new hammered pans from Gotham Steel. This complete 9-piece set is guaranteed to beautify your kitchen like never before.
Gosh, what I love most about this design is this hammered copper look. It would just look so fantastic hanging in my kitchen.
Wow, this is a beautiful pan. It looks great. Look at those eggs dancing around in there. I tell you, I'm sold. Where do I get these? I love them. Hammered pans are ultra non-stick. Nothing sticks. Even gooey mac and cheese slips out with ease. And look, these sticky candies melted with a torch are no match for hammered pans. Plus, they're super durable. So use metal beaters straight in the pan for a gourmet souffle that slips out and a pan that looks just like new. They're even oven safe up to 500 degrees. So bake homemade chicken pot pie, cheesy lasagna, or this whole chicken dinner. Any recipe looks great in these pans, from steak flambe to delicious desserts and delicate fish. Nothing sticks. Plus, the entire set is dishwasher safe and PFOA free.
Similar sets are over $1,000, but you will pay that, not $500 or even $300. Get the full Stop and Steel hammered set for just 5 payments of $49.99, and we'll even ship it to you free. But order now and we'll drop one payment. That's just 4 payments of $49.99, and we'll even guarantee it for a full 10 years. Plus, we'll include this free steamer and strainer, and our 5-piece bakeware set with every pan you'll ever need to make delicious breads, cakes, and desserts. Together, these are an $80 value. Yours 100% free. That's a huge 15-piece set with free shipping. Call or check now.
To order, call 1-800-807-6648 or go to buyhammered.com. That's 1-800-807-6648, or you can order online at buyhammered.com.
Grief isn't talked about much, but that's what my podcast is all about. Join me and my guests for a new season with new conversations about loss, life, and love.
All There Is with Anderson Cooper. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Larry McGowan in Nairobi, Kenya, and this is CNN.
Let's start paying attention to our breasts when it matters most. Early detection for breast cancer should take center stage. So no matter your age, understand your risk. Take the first step. Go to yourattentionplease.com.
Where does confidence come from? It's not from within. It must be pursued. Confidence is not a mindset, it's an achievement. In the GMC Sierra HP AT4X. Get 5.9% APR on GMC Sierra heavy-duty models. That's over $5,300 in average finance savings. See your local GMC dealer.
This is CNN. More people get their news from CNN than any other news source.
Welcome back. I'm John Gores. You're watching CNN Newsroom. Let's check today's top stories. US President Donald Trump has announced new 25% tariffs on all imported cars, taking effect 1 week from now. A 25% tariff on car parts, with some exceptions to come no later than May 3rd. Canada, the EU, Japan, and South Korea are all weighing out to respond. The Atlantic magazine has published more text showing top US officials discussing highly sensitive plans for a military strike on Houthi rebels. Defense sources tell CNN the material was highly classified despite repeated denials from Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth. Dozens of European leaders will meet in the coming hours in Paris to discuss security arrangements for Ukraine. The so-called Coalition of the Willing will look at ways to arm Ukraine and whether to eventually put boots on the ground as a safeguard for a future ceasefire. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has warned parts of Gaza could remain under Israeli occupation. In a chaotic session in the Knesset Wednesday, Israel's defense minister raised the possibility as a security measure. Netanyahu added the option is being considered if Hamas refuses to release all remaining Israeli hostages.
The more Hamas continues in its refusal to release our hostages, the more powerful the repression being served will be. And I say to you, members of the Knesset, and I say to Hamas as well, this includes seizing territory, and it includes other things that I'm not going to specify here.
Another anti-Hamas rally in northern Gaza Wednesday, the second in 2 days. Demonstrations appear to be the largest against the militant group since the war began. Some protesters told CNN their message to Hamas is enough is enough. It's time to give others a chance to govern, and to Israel's military to stop the bloodshed. Hamas claims the protests do not reflect the overwhelming position of most Palestinians. On the silent victims of Israel's relentless war in Gaza is the education system. Officials say more than 120 schools and universities have been obliterated by Israeli military strikes. Well over 600,000 children have already missed out on at least 1 year of schooling. So CNN's Paula Hancock's reports some students are looking for ways to continue to learn.
Learning to write the letter D, dal in Arabic, on what's left of the chalkboard. Basic education that Gaza's young have been denied for so long. This was last December when the war was raging, where rubble was their playground. A building that looked ready to collapse at the pace of learning. Many children were initially too scared to come, the teacher says, because of the destruction all around. 13-year-old Faraz Aksouk was one of the students, grieving for lost relatives, but determined to learn. My school had everything, she says. Chairs, pencils, notebooks and chalkboards. Now we sit on rubble. If we find a notebook among the ruins, we try to use it. During the 2-month ceasefire, Farah walked on the ruins of her school in Khan Yunis, a 7th grader who used to be top of her class. I feel no ceasefire, she says. There's destruction everywhere. It's the same as war. What had changed is she had space to realize how much she had lost. No home and no school. I feel my heart is ripped apart, like I'm in pieces, she says. I don't know how else to describe it. And now a devastating return to war threatens the limited education spaces that have been created.
It's as important as providing life-saving assistance. And the more we wait, the more we take the risk to sacrifice an entire generation.
Pre-conflict, just under half of Gaza's school-aged children attended UNRWA schools. Israel has since banned the UN agency's presence in Gaza, accusing it of ties to Hamas, which the UN denies. Over 95% of educational facilities in Gaza have been partially or completely destroyed since October 7, 2023, according to a UN report released last November, including many that have been turned into shelters. Israel's military claimed many were used by Hamas as command and control centers, making them legitimate targets, an accusation Hamas denies. Sisters Manar and Rawan should have been close to graduating from university by now, one as an architect, the other as a pharmacist. The war forced them to continue their studies remotely, almost impossible given the scant electricity and internet. They were displaced multiple times. We're forced to come up to the 4th floor, even though the building may collapse, says Manar. We have to get internet connection from an eSIM card so we can download our lectures. Almost half of Gaza's population is under the age of 18. For them, education is a lifeline, a hope for a better future that has been taken away from them. Paula Hancock's CNN, Abu Dhabi.
Prince Harry quits the charity he helped establish in memory of his mother. In a moment, what both sides are saying about an eternal leadership.
Are you sitting right now? It could be harming your health. Back pain, stress, and serious health risks can build up from sitting too long. But motion changes everything. Introducing Ready Rocker with its patented Rock Perfect design that supports your spine as it helps improve posture, relieve back pain, boost circulation, and release endorphins for your overall well-being, no matter where you are. Lightweight, portable, and covered in memory foam, Ready Rocker instantly transforms any chair or space into a healthier sitting experience.
Sitting too long isn't just uncomfortable, it's unhealthy. With Ready Rocker, we make sitting a healthier experience for people of all ages.
From soothing babies to helping with posture, back pain, and stress, we discovered that Rocky can truly improve lives.
Sitting is the new smoking. A sedentary lifestyle, whether you're sitting at a desk or in a vehicle all day, is not good for the body to just stay in that same position. And that's why the Ready Rocker is so effective. The rocking motion constantly keeps you active and helps you ease pain, reduces stress. It's a mood booster.
I used to be in pain all the time, but with Ready Rocker, I felt relief, and I'm in a better mood. I take it everywhere.
I can literally feel the stress being taken off my joints while rocking.
My back stopped hurting, my arthritis felt better. It's just wonderful.
Now you can join the movement that's changing lives and helping thousands find relief. Call now or go online to get 30% off your purchase. We'll even ship it for free. Plus, you'll get this bonus smart strap to secure your Ready Rocker in place or to carry it hands-free.
Ready Rocker is changing lives one rock at a time.
Now it's your turn to experience the relief for yourself.
Call 1-800-709-4614 or go to buyreadyrocker.com. That's 1-800-709-4614 or go to buyreadyrocker.com. Call now.
Messes happen every day in every way, but who wants to drag out that bulky vacuum? Hey folks, Joe Fowler here with my favorite cleaning partner, the Duck. A super compact vac with ultra powerful suction. This is a small but mighty Duck, making it quick and easy to clean up any mess. Just duck it up. The compact design can reach the tightest places. It's smaller than a water bottle. Oh, but look at this. It even fits inside my pocket. So store it in any drawer where it's always at your fingertips. Plus, it dumps out with ease, so it's ready to clean again.
I used to have to drag out this huge thing they call a portable vacuum cleaner. Now I keep the Duck in my kitchen drawer and I clean up messes in 2 seconds.
The turbocharged motor is engineered to create a powerful vortex of suction, while the HEPA filter helps remove dust and allergens. Let's prove the power of the Duck. I attach it to the hose. It's going to pull water right up through the tube. Clean up that mess in the kitchen, the spill on the sofa, even the sawdust and screws in the workshop. But Plus, it's rechargeable. Got messy parts? Duck powerfully picks up pet hair from anywhere. You can even store it in your glove box for the ultimate car bag. Clean seats, the floor, and deep into those hard-to-reach places. I promise the Duck will change the way you clean.
Get the horsepower Duck handbag for just $39.99. Order right now and we'll upgrade you to the Duck Pro package. A $30 value, yours free. You get the bendable tube to get under appliances, the crevice nozzle to reach into those cracks and crevices, and the brush nozzle to vacuum with no scratches. You'll get the Duck with all the deluxe attachments, but supplies aren't limited, so there's a strict limit of 3 per order. This may be your last chance to get yours at this low, low price. So don't delay. Duck it up today.
Call 1-800-908-1581 or visit duckback.com. So call 1-800-908-1581 or visit duckback.com. Order now.
Tracy is about to have her best day ever on the runway. Her first strut turns into a stumble. Her pumpkin pet insurance plan covers up to 90% of eligible vet bills. Get a plan like Gracie's at pumpkin.care.
For World Sports, I'm Ramona Davis, and this is CNN.
My happy place. One place I could truly be myself.
I want people to experience this beautifully diverse city. There's no other place like it.
My Happy Place premieres April 27th on CNN.
Brazil's Supreme Court has ruled former President Jair Bolsonaro will stand trial for his alleged role in a failed coup attempt after the 2022 election. Prosecutors say part of the plot included a plan to potentially assassinate elected President Luis Inácio Lula da Silva. Bolsonaro has denied all charges.
I was scared of it. Today, I hope to put a final point on this. It looks like there is something personal against me. The accusation is very serious and unfounded.
7 others will stand trial alongside Bolsonaro, who they once called the Trump of the tropics, for their part in the alleged coup attempt, which culminated in riots back in January of 2023. Prince Harry has stepped down as patron of an HIV/AIDS charity he co-founded in memory of his mother Diana, amid ongoing disputes with the board's chair. He formed Senabali nearly 20 years ago with Prince Seso of Lesotho, who has also left the charity. Both princes released a statement reading in part, "It is devastating that the relationship between the charity's trustees and the chair of the board broke down beyond repair, creating an untenable situation. What's transpired is unthinkable. We are in shock." Details about the disagreement, which left them in shock, have not been made public, but the board's chair was asked to step down and then released her own statement, which appeared to call out Prince Harry and others. Reading in part, "There are people in this world who behave so they are above the law and mistreat people and then play the victim card. They use the very press they disdain to harm people who have the courage to challenge their conduct." Britain's Charity Commission says they are aware of concerns within the organisation and are looking into those issues and will determine next steps. I'm John Vors, back at the top of the hour with more CNN News. But in the meantime, World Sports starts after a very short break. See you back here in 18 minutes.
Stay tuned to get this 5-piece bakeware set, a $60 value, absolutely free. Tired of that pan that always sticks? It's so scratched and worn, you can't cook in it.
Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with my new hammer pans from Gotham Steel. This complete 9-piece set is guaranteed to beautify your kitchen like never before.
Gosh, what I love most about this design is this hammered copper look. It would just look so fantastic hanging in my kitchen.
Wow, this is a beautiful pan. It looks great. Look at those eggs dancing around in there. I tell you, I'm sold. Where do I get these? I love them. Hammer pans are ultra non-stick. Nothing sticks. Even gooey mac and cheese slips out with ease. And look, these sticky candies melted with a torch are no match for Hammond pans. Plus, they're super durable, so use metal beaters straight in the pan for a gourmet souffle that slips out and a pan that looks just like new. They're even oven safe up to 500 degrees. So bake homemade chicken pot pie, cheesy lasagna, or this whole chicken dinner. Any recipe looks great in these pans, from steak flambe to delicious desserts and delicate fish. Nothing sticks. Plus, the entire set is dishwasher safe and PFOA free. Similar set over
$1,000, but you will pay that, not $500 or even $300. Get the full 9-piece Gotham Steel hammered set for just 5 payments of $49.99, and we'll even ship it to you free. But order now and we'll drop 1 payment. That's just 4 payments of $49.99, and we'll even guarantee it for a full 10 years. Plus, we'll include this free steamer and strainer, and our 5-piece bakeware set with every pan you'll ever need to make delicious breads, cakes, and desserts. Together, these are an $80 value. Yours 100% free. That's a huge 15-piece set with free shipping. Call or click now.
To order, call 1-800-807-6648 or go to buyhammered.com. That's 1-800-807-6648, or you can order online at buyhammered.com.
Today we live in an unpredictable environment and news races around the world at breakneck speed.
We have seen a glaring double standard.
We desperately need you to finally conclude that we've suffered long enough by your unpublished.
My show brings you the latest news and top newsmakers.
I know what it's like to be different in your neighborhood.
Tom Hanks, welcome.
Chris Young, nice to see you.
What I'm telling you now is that we have to work 10 times harder.
I'm Paul. Today on CNN.
Playmakers are all around Africa. All-star athletes, record breakers, game changers. I'm Larry McDowell, and this is African Voices Playmakers.
Legend Dikembe Mutombo's impact extends beyond the court as a new wave of African talent rises to carry his legacy.
All about change things in Africa in general, not only generally.
African Voices Playmakers, only on CNN.
The 5 Things Podcast from CNN. Get the day's top 5 stories, all in one podcast. The 5 things you need to hear in under 5 minutes. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Mike Valerio, across the river from North Korea.
You came to the right place. Bro, he's gonna love this brushwork. Yeah, dude.
Some actions.
How many times have I told you?
Oh. You got my stuff. Ice cold. It's cold.
So early.
How are we gonna be
Introducing our biggest GMC Acadia ever. Offering bigger screens, bigger tech, like available Super Cruise hands-free driving, bigger views, and even bigger journeys.
Here we go, boys.
Live your biggest life.
You're right.
In the new GMC Acadia.
I'm Vicky Anderson in Abu Dhabi, and this is CNN.
GPS tracker confirmed. I have your position. I will also access onboard CCTV once you are inside. Knock, knock, Mr. Romeo. Guess who is back again? The drainage pipe is still ahead.
Hello there and welcome to CNN World Sport. I'm Don Riddell in Atlanta. Let's kick off the show today with a
that turbine. I knew you'd be fine. How likely is it I have two operations in the same way, huh? Now, we look for the vault. Maybe start in the central building.
Está arriesgando la vida. ¡Ah, puta! Maldita sea. We hit him close. You better leave right now.
Judging from the lack of terrified screams, I will assume you made it through the uncharted tunnel and into the den of strung-out militiamen. Good. Things are going according to plan, huh? Now, let's see what he has for us in the vault this time. Watch out for the Mr. Rubio's personal bodyguards. They patrol this area. They will know every soldier on the island. Them you cannot fool, no matter what you are wearing. Judging from the lack of terrified screams, I will assume you made it through the uncharted tunnel and into the den of strung-out militiamen. Good. Things are going according to plan, huh? Now, let's see what he has for us in the vault this time. If you are considering using the cliff as an escape route, I have done some calculations and you would have a better chance of survival running directly at the bullets. Be careful in this area. Mr. Rubio's personal bodyguards, they know their soldiers and they will know you are not one of them, no matter what uniform you are wearing. Ask the guard nicely for the key. sorry, the CCTV image is a little blurry. Was that a gun made of gold? Do you have both key cards for this door? Timing is everything. All together now. When we looked at the security feed, remember we saw a keypad in the office? Worth looking at. And here we are, again. Now for the delicate part, the glass case, bulletproof, shatterproof. You will need the plasma cutter, and you will need to be very careful. You know, there is something about coming all this way to steal a bottle of booze, which speaks to me on a very deep level. From what I can tell, they have sealed the drainage pipe. You will need another way out. Reinforcements incoming. Remember, there is always time for some last-minute shopping before takeoff.
and the EU. But there was no announcement of retaliatory measures from the EU, unlike Canada, which seemed ready to push back.
And this is a direct attack, to be clear, a direct attack on the very workers that I stood in front of. We will defend our workers. We will defend our companies. We will defend our country. And we will defend it together.
Fly now to Hong Kong. CNN's Chrissy Luchard standing by for us there. These are the tariffs that we felt around the world, especially in Asia, where there are a lot of suppliers there, the auto industry.
Yeah, the potential impacts could be huge, with the Japanese Prime Minister saying now that, quote, all options are on the table after U.S. President Donald Trump announced his new auto tariffs of 25% to be applied on all imports, targeting the world's biggest auto suppliers, including key allies here in the Asia-Pacific region, Japan and South Korea. Now, these new auto tariffs will kick into gear next week, with collection beginning on April the 3rd. It will apply to cars, it will apply to trucks. As for auto parts, and that includes stuff like engines, electronic components, transmissions, that will be subject to an up to 1 month reprieve. We've been monitoring investor activity and reaction ever since the news broke, and shares in South Korea and Japan have been skidding this day, and it comes as a surprise to many. I mean, just a couple of days ago, Hyundai, the South Korean automaking giant, announced plans to invest $20 billion in the United States. And earlier this month, Honda, the Japanese auto giant, said that it was planning to move the production of the Civic from Mexico to the U.S. state of Indiana to reportedly avoid potential tariffs. Now, we did hear from the Japanese Prime Minister earlier today. He addressed the tariffs in a session of Parliament. We have a quote from him here. Let's bring it up to you. This is what he heard from Shigeru Ishiba, who said this, quote, Japan is a country that is making the largest amount of investment in the United States, so we wonder if it makes sense for Washington to apply uniform tariffs to all countries. That's a point we've been making, and we will continue to do so. Analysts say that these tariffs will deal a heavy blow to the Japanese economy and to the South Korean economy as well. We heard this from a senior fellow at the Council of Foreign Relations who posted this on the social media platform known as X in regards to the auto sector. This is what we heard from Brand Setzer saying this, quote, imports from Korea have been growing strongly and now top $35 billion or 2% of GDP. So Korea is more exposed relative to the size of its economy than either Germany or Japan, unquote. Last year, in 2000, $174 billion worth of auto products. And if we bring up the list of top global suppliers, let's bring it up on the screen right now. You will see the following nations. You will see Mexico, Japan, South Korea, Canada, Germany. Every nation on this list is a close ally of the United States. Back to you.
Chrissy, thank you. Chrissy is out there live for us in Hong Kong. To Washington now, and CNN's global economic analyst, Rana Faruha. Good to see you.
Great to see you.
Okay, it's one thing to be Mr. Unpredictable when it comes to foreign policy, keep on guessing, the madman chaos theory. But when it comes to economic policy, it's a whole different story. And right now, there seems to be a lot of confusion, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of concern, especially within the auto industry. And this is how it seems to be all the time when it comes to Trump and tariffs.
Well, 100%, John. I mean, you can look the last few weeks. We're hearing what's going to happen next week. We don't know if it's going to hold. But this is true. This has been true really since the get-go with Trump and tariffs. I mean, he sees the U.S. economy as sort of one big chit in the poker table that is the global economy, and he's going to use it for whatever he can get. I mean, it's interesting to me because I hear about tariffs coming down, and I can't help but think, well, is this part of a deal to get the Germans to cough up more for their own security? Are we going to see changes depending on what China offers up? I mean, it's a moving target. it's a moving target, but for now, we have to assume that these tariffs are coming down next week, and they're pretty steep. It's going to change the global auto industry for sure.
Okay, so here's President Trump now outlining the effect he believes these tariffs will have in the U.S. auto industry as well as the wider economy. Here he is.
I can tell you, if they have factories here, they're thrilled. If you don't have factories here, they're going to have to get going and build them because otherwise they have to pay tariffs. Very simple.
Given the level of unpredictability right now, why would any major automaker invest upwards of $1 billion and build a new plant in the United States?
It's a great question. Again, I think Trump is taking a huge bet on the power of the U.S. consumer market at a time when Europe and China are both ailing. Growth is slow in Europe, and China is really still in the middle of an economic crisis. So Trump's saying, hey, we're the only game in town. Come on. But, you're making a very important point, which is that can businesses trust what's happening today? Can they trust it tomorrow? Can they trust it next week? You look at the president's track record and you got to say that's a shaky bet. I'm hearing this from executives everywhere, actually, that they just don't know what end is up. Even traditional allies, folks in the oil business I'm talking to, are concerned. There is a really unprecedented amount of insecurity in the U.S. market right now.
But wait, there's more. Here again is President Trump.
If you borrow money to buy a car, you're allowed to deduct interest payments for purposes of income tax, but only if the car is made in America. So if the car is made in America, you get a loan, you can deduct the interest. That's a big saving.
That came out of nowhere. Is that tax break essentially a subsidy for U.S. car makers?
100%. 100%.
Okay, I'll take it.
A subsidy is anything that helps to push a particular economic agenda, and this is certainly that. It also goes to show that I think this president is going to use every tool in the toolbox when it comes to supporting the tariff plan. You might see bans on foreign investment and capital. You might see all kinds of things, from subsidizing loans to, we've seen things like port fees on Chinese vessels. We're just at the beginning, and he's going to get very creative in terms of all the tools.
And if nothing else, these new tariffs will mean a revenue windfall for the federal government. Listen to this.
We expect that these tariffs will result in over $100 billion of new annual revenue to the United States of America in tariff revenue.
One and only. What can I get you? Hey, let me know if you have any questions. Stay strapped. I hear you're playing Good Samaritan.
Included inadvertently the journalist Jeffrey Goldberg, and ultimately came out publicly over the last several days, including the hours before the House Intelligence Committee heard testimony from two participants in that group chat, Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, and John Ratcliffe, the CIA Director. In the aftermath of that, the Republicans were on different pages. Some, including Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, are defending the Trump team, said that there's nothing to see here, essentially. And the Pete Hegseth and the like, they say that there was nothing that was actually revealed that undermined the U.S. operation, defended the U.S. operation against the Houthis, and said that there was no sources or methods disclosed. And there are other Republicans who are deeply concerned, who are worried about the implications of having such communication, such sensitive communication. They believe it was classified information. Even the White House says it was not classified information. They say it should not have been discussed in such a platform like that could be accessed by American adversaries like Russia, like China, and others around the world. Now, the aftermath of this, some Republicans are calling for an investigation, and the Republican leader of the Senate, John Thune, told me that he believes that the administration should at least own up to its mistakes.
It appears that Mr. Walz has accepted fault for it. I don't know.
Yeah, except that all those battle plans they've discussed.
Does it concern me? Hell, yes.
Now, there does appear to be some appetite for investigation among Republicans on some of these key committees. In fact, one of them, Senator Roger Wicker, who is the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, joined with the top Democrat in this committee to send a letter demanding an inspector general investigation into all of this. We'll see how that ultimately plays out. And we'll see if the Senate committee plans to press ahead with its own probe, as we're seeing Republicans split on how to proceed, and Democrats saying that Hegseth should resign or be fired in the aftermath of this controversy. Manu Raju, CNN, Capitol Hill.
In the White House, the strategy here seems to be deny and downplay. Earlier, our CNN senior political analyst, Ron Brownstein, how effective is that in light of glaring evidence to the contrary?
It really defies credibility to argue that this is something, whether you call it a war plan or an attack plan, that should have been being discussed on a commercial app, much less to go on for days with a journalist in the chat and no one noticing. I mean, just the smell test. Imagine if this was done by a Democratic administration, what we'd be hearing now from Republicans in Congress and from Fox News. Or imagine that if it was a line officer in one of the military branches, what would happen to their career if they had a breach of operational security of this magnitude? I mean, it just doesn't really get to first base to argue that this was not a big deal. A, that it was being discussed, through this mechanism, and B, that and the fact that Steve Witkoff was on the chat and was apparently in Moscow at the time may have meant there were some other people who shouldn't have been listening who were aware of this at the time as well.
CNN senior political analyst Ron Brownstein there in Los Angeles. For the record, the United States is not officially at war with Venezuela, nor has Venezuela attempted an invasion of the United States. Two facts which would be required for a president to use the Aliens Enemy Act for a mass deportation of foreign citizens. But that's not why a U.S. appeals court upheld a temporary ban on the White House using. Instead, the court found that hundreds of Venezuelans accused of belonging to a violent gang who was sent to a maximum security prison in El Salvador earlier this month were all denied due process. President Trump has called for the impeachment of the federal judge who first issued that temporary ban on the deportations. Trump administration expected to appeal this ruling to the U.S. Supreme Court. Well, as European leaders prepare for discussions over security in Ukraine, the country is once again rocked by a massive Russian drone attack. Details ahead.
Are you sitting right now It could be harming your health. Back pain, stress, and serious health risks can build up from sitting too long. But motion changes everything. Introducing Ready Rocker with its patented Rock Perfect design that supports your spine as it helps improve posture, relieve back pain, boost circulation, and release endorphins for your overall well-being, no matter where you are. Lightweight, portable, and covered in memory foam, Ready Rocker instantly transforms any chair or space into a healthier sitting experience.
Sitting too long isn't just uncomfortable, it's unhealthy.
Okie dokie, set off for your vehicles. Air team, you're going to collect the Avenger tilt rotor aircraft. Water team, you're using Stromberg. We've done some pretty good work disrupting their activities around the state. But now, it's time to take down this Russian spy network thing once and for all. If my rigorous debrief of Agent ULP has taught me anything, it's that the threat is not to be underestimated. Codename Bogdan, if that is his real name, is here to destroy our republic. Maybe the rest of the world, too. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to cashing my paycheck. Going back to my normal day-to-day existence where I don't have to put pants on in the morning. You know, where it's the evening news that makes me think nuclear war might be imminent. Not my work emails. Lucky you. Way to avoid responsibility. Little litmus test I do for every business decision I make. Would I go to nuclear war for this? I press the go button when the answer is abso-fucking-lutely. Yeah, well, I've never been so sure about something I'd drop an H-bomb for. Except maybe these chicken wings I had once. Lemon pepper. You know, you are the problem with culture right now. No one takes anything seriously. It's a crisis of things meaning what they should. Oh, I'm sorry. The threat is very real, okay? Just like your hair system. Your discourse is poisonous and reductive. Okay, folks, here's the plan. The air team provides cover while the water team gains access to code He knows the game is up, and he's throwing everything he has at us. American agents, you are making a grave mistakes. You may know me as Gordon Bogdan. I am commander of the submarine. And for record, Bogdan is not just Gordon, it is a real name. Whoever got it.
With Ready Rocker, we make sitting a healthier experience for people of all ages.
Netanyahu then added the option is being considered if Hamas refuses to release all remaining Israeli hostages.
The more Hamas continues in its refusal to release our hostages, the more powerful the repression we exert will be. And I say to you, members of the Knesset, and I say to Hamas as well, this includes seizing territory, and it includes other things that I'm not going to specify here.
Another anti-Hamas rally in northern Gaza Wednesday, the second in 2 days. The demonstrations appear to be the largest against the militant group since the war began. Some protesters told CNN their message to Hamas is enough is enough. It's time to give others a chance to rule, as well as to Israel's military stop the bloodshed. Hamas claims the protests do not reflect the general position of the majority of Palestinians. Global vaccine programs could soon go under the Trump budget knife. According to the New York Times, one group which runs immunization programs in developing countries is on a list of more than 5,000 foreign aid projects slated for termination. According to the Times, some grants for nearly 900 programs will continue, including medications for HIV and tuberculosis and food aid to countries in the midst of civil wars or facing natural disasters. Dr. Simon Williams is a sociologist and public health researcher at Swansea University in Wales. Thank you for getting up early.
Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, so here's how the Trump administration decided what to cut and what to keep. In the US State Department, each award terminated was reviewed individually for alignment with agency and administrative priorities. Determinations were executed where the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, determined the award was inconsistent with the national interest or agency policy priorities. Okay, so putting aside concerns over global public health and how these cuts could boomerang back on the US, what does this decision-making process say about the Trump administration's values and priorities?
I mean, I think this is absolutely catastrophic and callous move for public health globally. And as you kind of allude there, it can have ramifications for the US as well. I mean, infectious diseases, the majority of cases are actually in the US are imported, where we have things like measles or mpox. So there is that issue. But I think, quite simply, 1.2 million children could die over the next, 5 to 10 years, depending on if this funding is not supported elsewhere or replaced elsewhere. 75 million children will miss routine vaccinations. Effectively, it's 13% of the funding to Gavi, which is the vaccination agency which helps distribute vaccinations the world over, particularly to those countries in need. 13% of their funding will disappear potentially overnight. So this is a very big and problematic situation yet again.
And last month, the UN Secretary General had this message for the Trump administration and the impact of funding cuts through.
We discuss, we make the world less healthy, less safe, less profitable. The reduction of America's humanitarian role and influence will run counter to American interests globally.
And to that point, one of the programs we cut here is a surveillance program at the UN, which tracks diseases which can jump from animals to humans, like coronavirus, as well as bird flu. And with the coronavirus in mind specifically, by May of 2022, the IMF estimates will spend $9 trillion battling the COVID pandemic. And everyone thought the big teachable moment from COVID was all about this huge benefit of prevention. Why is that now being forgotten or being ignored?
Absolutely, I give you a good answer like that's being ignored, except for it shouldn't be. There's been mention that the COVID pandemic is over. That's essentially the pandemic isn't officially over. Thousands of people still die every week, including in the US from COVID. I think you're absolutely right. I think one of the things that we learned from COVID is that one infectious disease is still a including in countries like the US, particularly in countries where vaccines are more accessible. And I think there is this danger potentially that there could be a pandemic in the future. And I think this is another example, like funding with or cuts to the WHO and other agencies globally, where infectious disease is important, vaccines don't matter. And I think there's a danger that this also sends a message out to members of the public that infectious disease aren't important where they are. I mean, it's one of the most effective and also cost-effective interventions out there. The average cost per dose, for example, in the most in need countries, for example, the Horn of Africa is about $4, and it is cost effective. I mean, for every $1 spent, for example, on vaccines settings, it can return $54 from lives saved. Kind of diseases are deadly, and particularly in these countries. When you think about something like measles, for example, again,
What you carrying lately? All right, let's talk. Stay strapped.
No, I'm done.
measles vaccines are going to be impacted by this decision.
All right, y'all. I'm going to
One
bed.
in 1,000
I'm tired.
could die in the US.
Not tired. I'm tired.
Income countries where these UN agencies are distributing vaccines.
Y'all have a great night.
100. So,
And I will see y'all tomorrow. Later.